just right.
Oh, now you're making me hungry. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Schmoes Show, the only show where we throw aside our Chipotle chips rather than eating them on air.
Hard. We make the hard decisions.
I wish I had Chipotle chips so I could make that decision, because I would make the wrong decision in this case. I'm the infamous Orion, and I'm a schmo.
I'm Cairo, and I'm also a schmo.
And I just finished my 4th cup of coffee for today.
Oh no.
Coffee doesn't...
Speedrun, let's go.
Yeah. I'm like Fry from Futurama, except I don't get that, like, those jitters. I don't know what it is about me and coffee. Caffeine doesn't affect me that much.
No, me neither. I have just come to accept that it's like some side effect of some type of ADHD.
You think so?
My baseline is already distracted about everything, so it just like cancels it out with the caffeine.
It's funny because I was telling someone else, I think it was my mother, about my obsessive like caffeine habit, and she turns to me and says, "I don't remember your ass having ADHD. What the fuck? You should not be able to survive that much caffeine, but here I am." Regardless, welcome to the show, everybody. As you can see, Real News is canceled. We're all just gonna be in our little Marvel dystopia right now because, well, not much is happening in the world, is it, Kyril?
Not too much. It's a bit slow.
Yeah. The student loan court case is going to be like a Tuesday, I think. Yeah. So
Probably.
Get ready to get mad at the Supreme Court, everybody.
I don't know. It's such a mixed bag with them, you know. They could at this point, whenever they get a case, I just half expect they're gonna ignore everything that the people who brought the case said in the first place and just rule on something different because they want to.
Yeah, they've just consult the orb, and by the orb I mean the head of their parties.
Not even though. It's not even like that. Like, there's been multiple cases where they have a specific legal argument that's in question brought before them that they just ignore and answer something else that wasn't in question. It's just like, okay. Like, yes, the argument that you pulled out of your ass and framed for yourself, you're right about that one. You've ignored the one that we brought to talk to you about, but good job for winning the argument you made up on your own, I guess.
I mean, that's how every freshman in college goes, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's how Ben Shapiro works. Are you saying the standards of Ben Shapiro are not the high enough standards for our Supreme Court?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's seems that way sometimes.
Fair enough. How was your week, Mr. Kyril?
Not too bad. We had the pretty bad ice storm that came through Wednesday night.
Yes.
Something like 900,000 people in Michigan without power.
Really?
It's pretty. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. How bad was it for you guys?
Not bad at all.
Ooh. Okay. It was really bad down here. I guess it was just more of a southern Michigan thing, is where it hit. But yeah, we had like a quarter to a half of an inch of ice that went on everything, particularly trees, and then it got followed up with the 1-2 punch of 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts that then proceeded to tip all the trees over. So a lot of trees down, hit a lot of power lines, caused a lot of power outages.
That's really unfortunate, and I feel bad for everybody that went through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks. It's particularly bad because a lot of it's not like a normal winter storm that knocks out power where it'll be like one major break happen somewhere and it's cascaded down to all these different people. That's typically how it is. But with this one, because it was so widespread, it's like every 10th house has the line going from the road to their house taken out, like individually. There's some people I was talking to last night who had their power go out on Wednesday night, right at the start of once the winds picked up. And the estimate that they got from consumers was that the earliest that they would should expect to get their power back on at this point would be tomorrow, and possibly as late as March 3rd.
Oh,
It's really bad.
that is the kind of expectation you set on the free shipping option when you spend over $25 on Amazon. That should not be your power estimate.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It is brutal. Ugh. Why is it Michigan suffers so much when it comes to this kind of shit?
So
I know why.
we just get the weird weather from the lakes. That's the big thing. It turns out having giant fucking bodies of fresh water on 3 sides of your state makes shit go weird.
Okay, class, I am now in support of line 5. Take those bitches out.
From what I understand, towards like Detroit area, they use a different energy provider, and I guess they have worse energy infrastructure than generally like Southwest Michigan does. So I think that's a pretty large part over there, where they just have older equipment, older lines that haven't been as well maintained.
It's Texas all over again.
Mm-hmm. But towards us, our infrastructure is pretty good, but it just didn't really matter.
Okay. So, do we have any real news to cover other than nothing?
Dilbert man got.
Dilbert man did pull a racism.
Yeah. Again, I think it needs to be stressed. This is definitely more overt than his prior outings. But yeah, Scott Adams, creator of the Dilbert comic series, went on a stream or a video on YouTube, and basically said some pretty overtly racist things. And as a result, he's being removed from a number of publications nationally in the U.S.
Love it.
What is it? USA Today Network in particular, and the Washington Post. Yeah. It's a shame. I found out how big of a piece of shit he was a couple of years ago, because for a really long time I would pick up like a daily Dilbert calendar just because I just enjoyed it. It's just dumb, and it's kind of it's just a silly comic, right? But it's just like, oh, he's just kind of a bastard. Okay, I guess I'll have to find something else.
It's so funny because I always associate you with Dilbert, and I'm sorry for that, but it's only because you were my roommate for years, and I know about those Dilbert comics.
Yeah, they were cheap. It's like it's just a good way to have like a little daily calendar, just to slap a comic on it.
Yeah.
No, can't have nice things.
That is why all you major news publishers who are now needing a new comic, may I suggest the QuTWOuSCHMOES Show as your new monthly comic?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. We got to capitalize on everything, Kyril. The only way to have success in a capitalist society is to assimilate yourself into said society.
Mm-hmm.
That's why your ass is getting put on a doll and we're selling it for $11.99.
Do you know the whole stone toss is a Nazi thing?
What the fuck did you just say to me?
Stone toss. Do you know who Stone Toss is? Let's start with that.
Sounds like a wrestler.
No, it is a web comic artist.
Okay.
Oh, you'll immediately be like, oh yeah, when you see the art style. It's very
Is he the dude with the oblong like facial characters who like? Yeah, that's exactly who I thought it was.
Yeah, so he's been around as an internet web comic artist for a long fucking time. And for a very long time, there was every once in a while he'd put up a comic that was just kind of just like, until people did a bit more digging and they found out that the whole Stone Toss thing wasn't his first outing as a webcomic artist. They found his older stuff, and it turns out he is just an out and out like neo-Nazi.
Nice, nice, nice. Like
Yeah.
legit neo-Nazi.
Yeah, like making comics where he's haha funny man jokingly praising Hitler. Haha, isn't that so funny that we praise Hitler? And like that kind of shit. And
That's
it's just
upsetting.
like, oh. There's a really good Reddit thread that gets sent around every once in a while that's like peak Reddit, where it's about like 3 pages long and 90% of it is hyperlinks to other stuff. And it's very good. It's very thorough in like reviewing everything he's done and then breaking every comic that he's made down into these are why this group of comics is awful. Here's the neo-Nazi stuff. Here's the racism stuff. Here's the anti-immigration. It's very, very thoroughly well done. Doesn't leave much room for doubt.
That is beautiful.
So, yeah. I don't think there's a ton other than that. I mean, there's probably some things that happened, right? Like
Train still
updates
derailed?
on yeah, train still derailed. You know, there's updates on the war in Ukraine. Biden made a bit of a surprise visit to Kiev and Warsaw. That was cool. But yeah, it's been a bit slow. Yeah, I'm sure we'll think of something and we'll, you know, cover it later if it
Last
comes
week
up again.
Tonight came back.
Did it?
Yeah.
I didn't even pay attention to it. Oh yeah, because that would have been on Monday. Man, Monday was like 2 years ago. Come on.
You okay, my dude?
It's been a long week.
You getting your sleep?
What
King?
was the? Oh right, that was the MDMA one. Psychedelics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really glad to see that. Back in high school, I did a bunch of research on the therapeutic uses of psychedelics.
Oh,
I'm
really?
glad, you know, we're only 9 years from when I did that, when I was like a fucking sophomore in high school. But hey, you know, I'm glad we're finally getting around to it as a society. It's about fucking time.
We just needed more Netflix documentaries to like talk about it, dude.
I guess. Man, I remember that was I when I was doing research on that this was, you know, even like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
The internet was very different and I was trying to scrape this, you know, data from places that were like forums, right? And really shady websites that people were probably hosting like on their home computers. To the extent where I tried to go back and look through some of like my bookmarks from that time, and a number of the websites just wouldn't load at all.
Oh no.
I had to go through like the Wayback Machine and stuff like that because they just didn't exist anymore.
That's
Yeah.
not a good sign.
No, it turns out people talking about psychedelic assisted therapy while it was very highly illegal didn't have, you know, that much staying power at that point. But I'm very glad to see it being brought back into the conversation. Both, you know, MDMA is the area that I was studying it for because that one was a drug that got particularly unfairly maligned when you look back at like the historical precedent back in the 80s and 90s, especially compared to like LSD,
Yeah.
where, you know, LSD is like the party drug, right?
Yeah.
And MDMA gets sort of looped into that as well, as, you know, like ecstasy being just sort of like a generic catch-all for it. But at the time when it was outlawed, just like a fun fact, one of the major arguments that went before the court cases that were deciding it that ended up being part of the scheduling for it, just blatantly lied about research that was done. Like, you know, Reagan era Republicans, they would never lie. But shocker, they did. And they presented research that was done on MDA and said it was the findings for MDMA. And it turns out when you chop off a whole chunk of a chemical, it makes it a different thing that does different things.
Aren't you a chemist?
Yeah, I am. What do you know?
Oh, that's so sad.
Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, that was cool to see. I just forgot about it because it was a whole 6 days ago, and it's been a week like that.
It has been like a week like that. Would you ever do any psychedelic therapy?
Yes, I mean, yes, I would if given the opportunity to do it, I would not turn it down. I don't think I'm in a position where I would like go out of my way to try and find it though, you know?
Yeah.
But like, hey, the university's doing this study and we need participants. Do you want to help out? Yeah, I'd help out for sure. I think it's a really I will be very surprised if progress, doesn't continue to happen with this, right? In particular with just how much more prevalent PTSD type symptoms are, excuse me, being recognized, right?
Yeah.
Like people have had PTSD since ever, but it was just never really realized. Now that people are living longer, and it's far less taboo to just like talk about the shit we're going through, I can't see therapy, including these sort of therapy techniques, not gaining traction just out of necessity, so people don't continue to go down the path of suicide.
Good point.
Because like
Yeah.
there's not a ton of options at a certain point.
I think I
Yeah.
actually remember you telling me about that paper you did on
Yeah.
like assisted therapy like that.
I've I've still got the poster kicking around somewhere. I should dig it up sometime.
Interesting. I've never done anything that cool. I
Mm.
did a paper on media literacy for my
Mm-hmm.
seniors like thesis in college.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty proud of.
Mm-hmm.
And then here I am making fun of people for not having media literacy as if I have a moral high ground to stay on. Okay. So do we address the ant in the room?
The Ant Mania.
The Quamantia?
God, I hate that.
What are you talking
I
about? It's good marketing, dude.
give so I what I'd seen the trailers for it, right?
Yeah.
I don't the bit that they had at the very end of the movie where they did that with it was the first where it clicked for me, and I was just like, stop,
Yeah, doesn't it just like
just
bother you when you
stop.
discover it?
It's so dumb. Like it already was kind of a dumb title, but I was willing to just be like, sure, whatever. They're doing time travel bullshit, whatever. I don't care. I didn't even think about it. Like how many dumb Marvel movie subtitles they've put after a colon in the last decade, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it, but man, it's really dumb.
Ant-Man First Draft is a perfectly fine
Mhm.
first draft of a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. I don't know. It's such a nothing movie. I just can't work up the effort to really criticize it that much.
To m-
Right?
to me, I feel like this movie felt like a TV series that they were working on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the beginning of this feels just so episodic and nonsensical.
The beginning is dumb.
Yeah.
The and I was we were talking about this earlier day before yesterday after I saw it where I very much think I'd have to go back and like review like what causes all of the Marvel movies to happen. What is the inciting incident? I think this is the dumbest one. It is, if not the dumbest, the most easily prevented inciting incident of all of Marvel history.
Agreed.
Um, I found that to be not particularly, like frustrating, but just kind of like whatever. Um, the frustrating part for me was every time Michelle Pfeiffer Janet talked. Every time through like the first hour and a half of the movie, if she is saying something, it is either needlessly cryptic or just outright dumb for no reason.
No, you're right.
Like, and I really hated that. The whole, uh, what the I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain trope is
Yeah.
bad, and people need to stop using it because it's bad. You flew on a goddamn manta ray for like an hour and a half. You had time to explain. Talk to your fucking family, you stupid woman. What is wrong with you?
I'm despising of the fact that they spend this whole movie like alluding to Kang showing up and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then like every time they're about to like say his name, they just stop with he.
Yeah.
No one talks that way.
We've seen the fucking trailer.
Yeah.
We know who the bad guy is. This isn't a secret, Marvel. If you wanted it to be a secret, you shouldn't have put his goddamn face on the poster.
Yeah.
And I can imagine a world where they didn't do that, and that actually would have been kind of good. But they did. We already know he exists and is like the main point of this movie. Why are you? It's just weird. I don't like it. I found it very frustrating. He's not fucking Voldemort.
So, I also don't understand why this was an Ant-Man movie.
Yeah. The only reason that it was an Ant-Man movie is because Ant-Man needed another movie.
But why? Did I just lose
Yeah.
it?
No, I don't have an answer.
Fair enough.
It is an Ant-Man movie because it needs to be an Ant-Man movie.
It just makes no fucking sense. And you
that is
the intro. The intro makes no sense because it makes no sense that Ant-Man would be in this kind of story.
Yeah. I really wish they hadn't gone down this route with the whole Pym particle stuff.
Yeah.
Because as fantasy sci-fi as the rest, the non-Ant-Man Marvel stuff is, generally it all follows the sort of the same rules.
Yeah.
If you see an Iron Man movie, a Thor movie, even like Captain Marvel, their powers are more or less pretty clearly defined, and you have an idea going into it of what like the ceiling of what is possible with these powers is going to be. And then Ant-Man comes along and takes a big shit on the sidewalk and smears it all around. And then leaves without explaining anything.
Takes a shit, refuses to elaborate, leaves.
I'm sure in the comics, I hope in the comics, they have explained, like, in universe, why does this work?
Yeah.
How can they breathe in the quantum realm, right?
Well, there's still oxygen. It's just really small, Kyril.
I hate that so much. I know that's probably the justification, but I really hate it.
Kyril, what are you talking about? Oxygen is just oxygen. There's nothing smaller inside oxygen.
It just bugs me to no end.
Bugs as in ants. Classic Kyril. Do we even want to do a plot synopsis? Because there's no plot in this movie.
You put it that way, there's really not.
Like, okay, has anybody ever seen Star Wars?
No, I think that's giving Ant-Man 3 way too much credit.
No, it is literally just ripping off Star Wars. If you take the original trilogy of Star Wars, take some of the bigger plot points of it, that is this movie.
Maybe. All right, what we should try to, because it's not going to take that long, let's be honest. So the gist of it is
Yes.
that this says Ant-Man. This would be what post Endgame. The other ones
Yes.
were before Endgame, right?
Hmm.
So this post Endgame, he has gone from he's done his zero to hero thing. Now they made that very clear. Where people know who he is, right? Um, in his day-to-day life, there comes, I mean, I don't even, it doesn't even matter. His daughter is now grown up. I think that's the
Yep.
key piece. His daughter is like 18-ish. Um
Old
and
enough.
old enough.
Yeah.
And she gets arrested for being at some protest or some shit that they don't really linger on too much. Um and we'll get back to that because I feel like they completely glazed over the way more interesting movie here. But we'll come back to that. I was really surprised they didn't go down that route, like even in passing in this stupid monologue thing. But it's like all monologue from Scott's perspective, and it gets his perfect world gets shattered by having to go pick up his daughter from a police station and bail her out.
I agree with you, by the
Um,
way, that there's a much better movie in here, but again, this is only the first draft.
Yeah, like little nugget to just lead it in. How the fuck have people not tried to murder the shit out of Hope at every fucking corner for ruining literally every industry in the world? But we'll get back to that. So they go and they pick up Cassie, and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Why am I having to bail you out of jail? And she's like, I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to do stuff, Dad. You don't do anything anymore. You saved the world once, and now you just sit on your ass all day and get free
Yes.
Baskin Robbins. And he's pretty much just like, well, yeah, no shit. Oh, and he wrote a book. He wrote a book, which is apparently you can like actually buy. What was up with that?
I don't know. It's a real book you can buy on Amazon. Look,
Yeah,
look,
it's like
look out for the little
it's
guy.
listed on Amazon. You can get it in hardcover.
Do you want to buy it in hardcover? I'm not too sure.
I don't know. It's on sale. You get $4 off.
Yeah, fucking spend $22.11, more than the price of a film ticket to go see the movie this is promoting.
You buy a lot.
Yeah, yeah, that's almost double. In fact,
It
the
has no
non-sales
reviews.
price. Yeah, go on.
I it's very weird.
Weird is a phrase.
Um I I don't know if it's number one bestseller in fiction satire. That's apparently a section on Amazon is fiction satire.
I guess it's a satire, but it's also like I guess it's satirizing those celebrity biographies that come out every
Yeah,
now and then.
it seems to be a real book that you can buy for some reason. I do hope very much that it's actually written by Paul Rudd and like this was like his pandemic project was like, yeah, I'm just gonna write a book from the perspective of Scott Lang, a biography. Why not? It'll keep me busy in lockdown.
Imagine like that's what he turned into Marvel, and he's like, make a movie based off this book now.
I would respect it very much if that was the case.
That's what pissed me off about this book. This book. Okay, it's funny that we're talking more about the book at this point,
I
but
know.
the author is literally written as Scott Lang.
Yeah.
We don't know who actually wrote this book.
No. And there's I guess this is a pre-order technically. To be released September 5th. So maybe they just have a team of minimum wage paid ghostwriters working day and night to finish this now by then to get produced.
No, dude, it's the VFX crew that wrote this.
The VFX crew. Fiverr's too good for Marvel now.
Oh my god. If you are the person that wrote the Look Out for the Little Guy book, please call us up. I would love to have you on our show.
That'd be amazing.
Yes.
I very much hope I want this to be written by an individual and not by a committee, you know. This has the potential to be like a genuinely really funny like fictional satire. It could be great or it could be just complete garbage like corporate schlock.
Oh man, I cannot believe it's the number one selling fictional satire book at the moment.
I mean, it's a pretty there's not a bunch of competition. I'll put it that way.
Is it? Okay, let me pull that up real
No.
quick.
Most of it is like Kindle exclusive stuff by one guy, Max Monroe. No idea who that is.
That's
It looks
weird.
like I don't even know. The only other one is that I recognize is the "Go the Fuck to Sleep" children's book
Oh yeah.
that they had Samuel L. Jackson do the voiceover for
Hmm.
in the audiobook. Um, yeah, it's not exactly. And what do you know? Number 9 is Not Working Remotely, Volume 50, Dilbert.
Who is the right-leaning asshole who's getting Dilbert to fucking higher like
It,
profits?
I don't know why this category exists, but it seems uh, to not be very tightly reviewed.
Not exactly pure edited.
No, not quite. But back to the whole Ant-Man stuff. Uh, Picks up Cassie. Cassie does her little "you're not doing shit" thing, and from out actually, it's something to do with research that Cassie has been doing with Hank
Because
in the basement about his ant stuff.
somehow Cassie's a super scientist, by the way.
Yeah, it's just whatever. It's Marvel. I just assume every other person is. I think given her parents, that's like not unreasonable, right? Like even if she's dumb as a brick, her mom is like basically Elon Musk at this point and can probably afford to put her through whatever school she wants to.
You're not wrong.
So I just kind of it. You're right. I just yeah. I'm not gonna dwell on it. So they go down to the basement. Hank and Cassie show off the work they've been doing with these ants that are doing ant shit. They're smart ants, I guess. Doesn't matter. Cassie has been working on something that's basically like a satellite to go into the quantum realm. And she turns it on, and they're starting to send signals back and forth from their little receiver thing to the quantum realm. And Janet, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, loses her shit, smashes it, even though they're just like, okay, we'll turn it off. They didn't turn it off quick enough, so she's got to smash it. She's Hulk now,
Hulk
and
smash. Janet
smashing
smash.
it opens up a little fucking wormhole to the quantum realm that slurps their basement down into it. And then they're stuck in the quantum realm. Womp womp.
As it happens from time to time, I don't know about you, but I've gotten stuck in the quantum realm a couple times.
No, it's just something you get used to. You figure it out. More of an inconvenience.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that just, takes like a day or two to get out of, as seen in the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in the quantum realm, the party gets split up with Scott and Cassie being in one area, and the others being in another.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this big reveal of how the quantum realm actually has stuff in it.
No way.
No way.
Is it cool stuff?
it's
Or is it just like generic Rick and
it
Morty esque
sure
shit?
is computer generated.
Oh, fair enough.
Um, I don't even know where to go from here.
Can we talk about the ooze scene? I really hate the ooze scene.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So like there's like
Okay,
this
for
weird
me,
edit.
I'll say,
Yeah, go on.
for me, that whole scene is just like, okay, Thor Ragnarok was really good. How do we do a Thor Ragnarok?
That's what I thought. This is like a mixture of Star Wars in fucking Thor Ragnarok.
Yep. They got the big strong guy. They got the little talky guy.
Yeah,
It's just like copy and paste these personality traits from every Marvel movie we've ever made over to this new one.
of course.
And I don't know.
I don't like
It
it.
just feels wrong. This is, I think, for me, where I get that sort of like this should be a TV show thing because they introduce all of these characters. I couldn't tell you any of their names at this point.
Yeah,
At least like fucking Korg was
Korg.
mildly original and
Yeah,
had a funny accent. Um, None of these people are memorable. There's guy who has gun for a head. Uh, Smaller guy who doesn't have holes. It's very plot crucial.
you remember that for
Um,
later.
and oozes into people's mouths, and that somehow lets everybody understand each other.
Okay,
It
what? Whoa,
just works. It just works.
I need to talk about that scene real quick.
Yes, please.
So they're all like dragging like Ant-Man into that scene, right? So he
Yeah.
can drink the ooze and then he can understand what everybody's saying.
Yep.
What the fuck is that little segment there? There's like this weird edit in that scene. And I hate this edit because after that I started paying attention to nothing but the editing in this movie. Where Cassie says, "Dad, drink the ooze," and then it cuts.
Yes.
What
Yes.
the fuck was that about? That wasn't suspenseful. That wasn't anything. Why did we have to have that line of her saying "drink the ooze"?
Yeah.
Because it's never brought up. They kind of hide Cassie from the scenes afterwards. So it's like,
Mhm.
why bother? You know?
They gotta be weird and quirky.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have known.
Mm-hmm.
I will take further corrective actions in my future endeavors.
Yeah, you're right though about the editing because they have them split up. You kind of like have normally there's like the A plot and the B plot, right?
Yeah.
Rather than doing that, they just kind of have two B plus plots
Mm-hmm.
where neither of them is the main one, but neither is also given more screen time than the other. It's very evenly divided because they got to get all their cameos in. And that was what really sold it for me. It's just like, okay, we got our crazy characters. Oh, now we have Bill Murray cameo
As Lando
as a
Calrissian,
very
they are functionally the same character. The high up noblemen who betray the heroes to the Empire.
yeah. At least just Jeff Goldblum had the courage to be funny about it. Although, on the plus side, Bill Murray's dead now. So at least we got that going. We don't have to worry about this shit later.
God.
Silver linings. So at this point, we learn that Janet was I don't know what you call it. It's very weird. Like when you think about it, the story falls apart more and more because they try to present this idea that Janet is like a traitor or some shit. Right. That's the gist of it. They're these freedom fighters and Janet left and that fucked everything up. Which doesn't make any sense when you look at it critically because like she's disappeared one day. It's not like she has some magic superpowers. In the quantum realm, she's just a person.
She's literally just a super scientist.
It's not like Superman blipped and left or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's really weird that all of their revolution eggs were in her wheelhouse, and when she's gone, the revolution fell apart.
Of course.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
What are you talking about, man? Have you ever just like had like your grandma just not show up to a family gathering and it just goes awful? That's the logic, man.
I guess so.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand why Janet is so important in this movie. What's up?
Get to this in a sec. I love this comparison though. So yes, Janet was a freedom fighter fighting against him. There's an unknown bad guy that we definitely don't know who it is yet. And she left. They lost their fight, and now they are living under the rule of this nefarious individual. Bill Murray's character, where Janet, Hope, and Hank are, is sort of like some sort of elite guy in a fancy bar, and that's contrasted by the people that Scott and Cassie meet, who are survivors of whoever this bad guy of whatever it was that he was doing, of his conquests. They managed to live and run to fight back another day, kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
uh what happens then? Scott and Cassie get, I guess, arrested, basically.
I guess.
No, we get something before that.
What's
we
we do?
We get MODOK.
I hate about MODOK in this movie?
Nothing, because he's perfect.
He's got a flat face, and I thought that was just part of his character design, but then there's a point where he gets punched in the face later in the movie, and he's supposed to have depth. But you're right, he is perfect in every way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So MODOK is in this, and it's great. And anybody who says otherwise is wrong.
You're racist if you think MODOK is
yes,
wrong.
You're robo-racist.
Robo-racist.
It was good. It was very good. Like, everything else aside, getting the reveal of, I don't even want to spoil it because I thought it was actually very well done. Getting the reveal of who MODOK actually is was very amusing, and the CGI is very dumb, but in like a Spy Kids 3D kind of way, where it's so dumb it loops back around to being funny again.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I found that very enjoyable.
Honestly, that felt like an actual movie plot right there.
It did.
Yeah.
I want to see that story more than this shit. But yeah, MODOK is there. He's trying to go killing people. What happens? We get Cassie has her own suit. And they fight people together, and it doesn't work, and they get caught anyways. And then we get the reveal of the guy that no one can say his name, that we've definitely not seen in trailers, and Janet's little flashback thing, and in Loki, we don't know who this guy is. It turns out
he shows up in the first 5 minutes of the movie, and we're just supposed to pretend like he doesn't exist.
Literally, it's very weird. Oh wow, it's Kang. Who could have seen this coming? The movie theater I was at definitely didn't have a fucking drink named after him for sale.
Are you serious?
I am fucking serious. This is like the worst kept secret ever.
Was it good? Did you try the drink?
I didn't have it. No.
Okay.
It was like just a screwdriver. It was just like orange juice and vodka and some other
That's
shit.
Not bad.
It seemed fine.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have it. But yeah, it was literally called like Kang Punch or something like that. I don't even know.
The Conqueror.
Basically. Like, even if they did that, just like don't put the dude's name in it. The drink's name. But no. It's the thing that they've told us it is the whole time, up until they tried to act like everybody's stupid and forgot and has a 2-second attention span.
What was that? I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know, something about ooze.
Ooze? Oh, are we talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now?
Yeah. So yeah, we get this reveal of, it's Kang, and he talks about in more detail what it was that Janet actually did and how Janet screwed him over by destroying the energy core of his multiversal spaceship. It's the only way I can think to describe it.
It's like a hover round that's like just
Yeah.
a little better.
Just a little, not too much.
Yeah.
But enough. It does what it needs to.
It's got a MacGuffin in there.
Oh yeah. Well, is it really a MacGuffin? I don't know.
You're right. I don't
I
know.
guess it's kind of in a middle area where it is a bit MacGuffin-y, but it also is just kind of like a normal plot point,
Yeah.
being this, energy source thing. But we get the explanation of, what happened and how this is all orchestrated by him. He was the one sending the signals up out of the quantum realm for Cassie to pick up this is where it gets really dumb, because he alleges that he was sending these signals to in some way trick Ant-Man to come down to the quantum realm to help him with this.
As one does.
That is very heavily implied in his dialogue, but it doesn't make any sense, because that's not what Cassie's thing was doing, for one.
No, it
That
was a
was not the
satellite.
intended purpose of it. It was just communication,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even working yet. If just Ant-Man went on his own, his plan would have failed, because Ant-Man would have told him to piss off, and that would have been the end of it.
Correct.
And the only reason it worked at all is because his arch nemesis Janet is such an emotional wreck that she couldn't wait the literal 5 seconds for her granddaughter to turn off her genius invention. She had to smash. If any one of those things happened differently, if Cassie was just a little bit stupider, none of his plan would have worked.
Yeah.
But it did. So Scott agrees basically that, all right, I'll help you with this thing. Just don't kill my daughter. And Kang's just like, man, okay. And we get like the one good CG scene, I think it's safe to say.
Are we talking
Where,
about the core scene?
yeah, where you get like I don't remember what they called it. Reality matrix or possibility matrix. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Where it shows like all of these possible Scotts and the decisions that they could make in this moment and how they varied.
I'm sorry, this whole thing just feels like a long Rick and Morty episode at times, because this seems like it's straight out of Rick and Morty.
Very much does.
Yeah.
But it is some pretty cool CGI where you have all of these Scotts that are appearing, and eventually joined by a similar number of Hopes, who also goes into it, working together in a very ant-like way to reach up to the orb thing to then shrink it down to the appropriate size, because it's big. It's very big.
Yes, because Janet made it big.
Because Janet made it big, she blew it up.
Yes.
And it's pretty neat. It's actually pretty good. And, it's this, like the one well-written scene where it's just where I think it's like MODOK or something is like, how is he doing that? How are they working together in that way? And it's just like, well, all that Hope and I guess for Scott, all Scott wants to do is save his daughter.
Yeah.
That's his one thing. All of the Scotts agree that they want to save Cassie. So they're honoring him in that. I guess Hope is just built different.
Hope,
because she doesn't know Cassie's in danger, but she's still doing it anyways.
Why does Hope help him shrink the orb down? She knows the orb is needed for Kang to like get out.
Right. So because Hope doesn't know that something's wrong with Cassie, she was sent in by Janet to try and get it before Kang does.
True. Fair enough. Fair enough. But
Yeah,
if they
and
just kept it super large,
up.
There's nothing they could
It's
do.
like,
yeah.
Right. So they end up working together, and they do the thing. And then Kang shows up and kicks their ass.
As Kang does.
As Kang does. That is Kang's defining trait, is showing up and kicking ass.
And chewing bubblegum. But there's no bubblegum in the quantum realm.
No bubblegum in the quantum realm.
God damn it.
So from there, we like Kang takes Janet for some reason back to his tower where he now has the multiverse orb of doing the things he wants to, and he is starting to power up his tower spaceship so that he can go back to his timeline to kick the ass of the other Kangs that sent him there.
Which they try like hinting at several times throughout the movie. There's multiple kings.
Yeah, and he was exiled for some reason.
He was too king for the kings.
Yeah, his justification, and I was kind of hoping that they could have, like, if they're gonna basically try to kill him, like, pseudo kill him off, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done a better job of explaining this Kang's motivation, because his what drives this Kang differently from the others is that he says that he has seen the single end of the world and he is trying to prevent it from happening, basically.
But why?
We don't get to know that.
It would make so much more sense if he's just like, yeah, what's at the end of the world? You know, tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get how I really don't, right? Like,
Yeah.
I know that they don't want to do it like beat for beat how, Thanos was, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just getting something would have been nice. But no. Oh,
Like,
one thing I kept wanting to check.
Yeah.
He 100% has like Doctor Doom clothes, right?
Sort of. I don't know. They just like say like his suit gives him all the powers.
It was kind of I got big Doctor Doom vibes from the green and purple suit that he had.
You're
And
right.
it's almost like Green Goblin-y. I don't know if that I don't know almost anything about the comics relating to these characters, so I don't know if that's on purpose. As a casual viewer, if I see green or green and purple, I am assuming a Green Goblin or Doctor Doom. And if it's neither of those, that feels like a bit of a miss on their part because it really looked like that.
So here's what King looks like in the comics. He does wear green and purple. I will say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just Stan Lee not having enough color palettes to use.
Really, it kind of is just that.
It is, yeah. So it's just a coincidence. Okay, that's fine. I know that there's like Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four and MODOK. There's been some crossover there.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I was just like, are they trying to do that? I really don't know. Is this like a teaser for the real fans kind of thing? But no, it's just a coincidence, I suppose. So what happens there? What happens next? Kang is back in his tower and he's powering up his laser. He's firing it.
Yep.
And we get Scott and Hope, who have just had their ass kicked and they're feeling defeated. And then Hank shows up and oh my god, he's got his ants again. And it's like, yeah, let's do it. Separately from that, I believe, Hope manages to escape just by pure luck.
Yeah.
She's being escorted back to her jail cell. She's got her Ant-Man suit on, and she beats up the two guards that are with her, and she manages to escape to find the Revolution girl that her and Scott met earlier. And they decide that they need, backup to help them out. So they go to Kang's projector room and project their face through all the quantum realm to rally their troops back to their position for one last fight. And meanwhile, we have, what is it? The Ant-Man goes big mode and he goes a storming through the Kang City to the tower to try and stop it. And he meets some adversity and then he stops it. Oh wow, didn't see that coming. And in the scuffle, Janet unplugs it, I think, because Kang brought her with him for some reason and put her in a position to be able to take advantage of the chaos. Shame he did that. If he had just like left her there or killed her, he probably could have still done his plan. But no. Uh what else? Oh, we get eventually the what I think is the worst scene of the movie,
We
where
really okay. Let's
you
talk about that.
have
Yeah.
big Scott, and then Cassie figures out how she can do the big thing too. And both of them are big, but because it's on a completely green screen set and there's no perspective for how big they are, they just look like normal people.
You want to know what I?
Other than there's some big stompy bass when they walk around. That's it. I was really disappointed that they thought that would be effective.
You know what I really didn't like about? I like that Cassie can turn big too. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
But
it's neat.
they do set up in Civil War that when you go big for the first time, you're
Yes.
gonna get fucking tired as fuck.
Yes.
Yeah. And that just does not happen with her, which I'm a little disappointed about because that could have added more drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope, she's got that built different gene from her mom.
Yeah, of course.
So what? They stop Kang from doing his big scale time travel, which forces him to use his time travel hover round instead. But they have a scuffle where the ants finally show up and turn the tide, and that's kind of like it.
Hank Pym strongest in the universe?
Like, kind of.
Yeah.
Turns out when you have millions of soldiers that are hyper intelligent with some, I don't remember what it fucking was, basically like sci-fi level technology equivalent, and a hive mind, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So they get up back to the control room, and they fix the multiverse thing so that they can go back to their real world, and all of them make it through, except King stops Scott from going through at the last minute. And oh no, what's happening? And Scott and Hope kick Kang's ass, and then they just leave anyways.
He blows up.
Yeah, something like that. Um, I'll say, I was really disappointed that they let Scott and Hope go back to their timeline.
I would have loved it if they just sacrificed themselves to keep King from going back there, you know?
Yeah. Well, and more than that, to keep Cassie safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
that
what parents are supposed to do.
It's kind of like two parts here, right? Where they blew up his multiverse orb thing again.
Yeah.
So they can't use that. But also, Cassie was able to just make it work anyways, I guess. I don't know how that works, but that seems a bit overpowered.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, I don't know. That was it stood out to me as just like more of how does this universe's rules work? Who knows? It just does.
And then can we talk about like the best part of the movie?
Sure.
The after credit scene.
Oh, that was actually quite good.
It was really, really good.
Never been happier to see Owen Wilson's dumb crooked nose.
Oh, that one. I was talking about the first one.
Oh, no, that one was kind of whatever.
Oh, I love the. Okay, so the last
I
one.
mean, it was neat,
Yeah.
but I want more Loki, and we're gonna get more this year. But I
Yes.
want it now.
Okay, so first one is the Council of Kings, and they're all like, "Oh, the Conqueror's dead. What are we gonna do now, boys?" And it's just Jonathan Majors in a whole bunch of different outfits. They didn't do like any different actors, just all Jonathan Majors. I kind of love that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, it was a bit too silly I felt, where it kind of like we've seen in Loki how relatively there is usually some sort of like through line with the variants that still keep them as who they are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like that was missing. It's fun,
It's a
but
very fun scene.
yeah, I don't know how cohesive it quite works as.
And then there was a trailer for Loki season 2, which I actually was
Yeah,
very excited about.
I'm very excited for it. I feel like you can just sort of like immediately tell it was shot by a different director with just how different the framing and the colors were in it. It was just like immediately just like flipping a switch and it's something else.
It felt better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be a dick, but like,
I when does I have to see when this comes out on Disney Plus. I saw an opinion and I think isn't quite right, but I think it was an interesting one to like as a thought exercise talking about the what the result, the impact of these most recent Marvel films relying so heavily on fully CG'd environments,
mm-hmm.
and how it means the end result of it is that it gives the actors less stuff they can interact with in the scenes that they're in. And I think this Ant-Man movie is particularly bad with that. You can I think do a sort of one-to-one comparison with it and Thor Ragnarok, with as much as it stole from Thor Ragnarok, and see how less real Quantumania feels, where you have Scott and Cassie and all these fucking aliens in this basically empty room just talking at each other with all this CG happening around them, compared to Ragnarok, where even though they're in mostly empty spaces that are CG'd still, there's real things that they pick up and interact with each other. It's not so empty feeling. And then you get to the end of it and you get that little end bit with Loki, and it immediately feels to me more real, because even if it's a fully CG'd room, it's a CG'd room that's full of people and it's stuff that looks tangible that people are interacting with.
So did you
And
ever
it just has a
notice?
very different feeling.
Yeah, sorry.
No.
You ever notice how there wasn't like any more than like 3 to 4 characters in one shot at a time?
Huh? Ah,
Yeah. It was so awkward.
it was.
Yeah. It felt like I was watching a stage play the whole time.
Yes, I that is a very apt way of putting it. It did feel that way.
I didn't know what to expect for this film. I knew Jonathan Majors would do well because he did well in Loki.
Yep.
Um, I just look forward to eventual more King movies because I think he is a very interesting character, and I love that they're taking a character who I kind of hate in the comics and doing something with him finally.
Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sold yet on the idea of Kang. I'll say the idea of Kang being the big bad at the end of Loki was much more intimidating than seeing it now, after Kang the Conqueror has been apparently killed.
Yeah, I think they really should have had more consequence. They should not have gotten out of the quantum realm.
The Kangs that they showed after just felt too silly, to put it bluntly. They were too absurd. I If they come with the next one and the next Kang Big Bad just has like a fucking pharaoh hat on and fuck all else, I am not taking that villain seriously.
Mm, mm, mm.
And I don't think that I have not yet been convinced that that amount of just sort of like absurd visuals can work.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
ready to be proved wrong, but I don't think I have been yet.
I will say this. In the comics, there is a Pharaoh King.
I don't doubt that. And
Yeah.
like in the broad sense of like infinite universes kind of shit, there's of course eventually going to be a Pharaoh King, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I hope it doesn't go past just like the Thanos copter level of like silly comic book reference. But I don't know. Have to, wait and see.
Yeah. It kind of dawned on me how far we've come since like the optimism of WandaVision and Loki for Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I gotta look up Marvel movies in order because it we haven't had a standout Marvel movie in a bit. Oh wow, you have to go back to like fucking phase 3. Oh. We have had Marvel movies in isolation recently that are better than this, but to me, Quantumania gets closer to being what I want out of a Marvel movie than anything we've gotten in a very long time, and that makes me sad.
So I've said this in the past. I'm going to keep rephrasing this. This, Thor Ragnarok, and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness could have been one movie, and it probably would have been a much better movie for having all these plot points.
Yeah. It's really looking at it just in the list of how they released chronologically. Or I guess not chronologically, in the order that they showed in theaters. After Endgame, I'm just going to run through this and probably say some opinions that most people disagree on. I was disappointed by Far From Home. Black Widow sucked. Shang-Chi was cool. It didn't feel like a Marvel movie, though. It was cool, but it was intentionally, and probably for the better, its own thing. Eternals sucked. No Way Home had very few consequences. I was thoroughly underwhelmed by Multiverse of Madness. Love and Thunder sucked. Wakanda Forever had cool stuff, but the same thing as Shang-Chi, it kind of is limited in its scope to just being its own thing. And then we get to Quantumania, where it starts to build up a bit, but it's still just kind of mediocre.
It feels like, again, I want a recut, and I don't know if we can really do this because, well, it's already done. But if I could do this, if I could redo this, right? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness would still be a movie, right? But we would take elements of Thor, Love and Thunder, and Quantumania in there and kind of like mesh them into a more cohesive, stronger movie because of it.
Yeah, I don't even know if I think Love and Thunder should stay as its own thing. It just needs another year and a half in a rewrite. The script that they ended on was not good, and somebody needed to stand up to Taika Waititi and just say no, do better.
Fair enough.
And it feels like a number, like same with James Gunn. I think Waititi, after doing Ragnarok and getting such success, I feel like the executives at Disney and Marvel are probably just like kind of like walking on eggshells because they know these people are going to make money for them, and they don't want to tarnish those relationships.
That's the scary thing about the MCU lately. Everything looks good on paper, but when it comes out, it's just like all undercooked.
Yeah.
If I could have it my way, it would have been Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness style road trip movie. And then Kang would be introduced in there as like a bad world, and we should probably avoid those kind of incidents and have Kang get more open to the whole multiverse itself. And then we can throw Eternity in there because Thor Ragnarok had Eternity, and I thought that was like the one good effect in the whole movie.
Yeah. I think, this is my hot take.
Hit me.
The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars stuff, which is the next Avengers movie that we're getting in Phase 6, I think should have been held off until like Phase 8.
Ooh.
And following Endgame, they should have gone, this is all a lot of hindsight, right?
Yeah.
They should have leaned way more heavily into the stuff that they've been doing in TV shows, where it's more human and grounded.
Same. I do like the more grounded stuff.
A really sharp tonal shift where you get all this big bombastic Endgame level stuff, and you should know, they should know, you can't ride that forever, right? Every movie can't be Endgame. And it feels like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep that scale, and they can't, because no shit you can't. You don't have 10, 8 years of buildup. You can't have 8 years of buildup for Quantum fucking Mania. So you get rid of that. You force it back down into the ground with grounded shit like Blade and the Captain America New World Order. You know, you take these characters that we know and you let them be characters rather than have these, you know, every movie doesn't need a big fight scene at the fucking end of it between these two warring armies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very tired of that. That's become like a trope now of the Marvel movies, is these absurdly big armies fighting each other for seemingly no reason.
You're right.
Multiverse of Madness had it.
Fucking Thor Ragnarok.
Shang-Chi had it.
Love and Thunder
Eternals
had it.
kind of had it. Yeah, it's just I am tired of it, and I want it to stop. I want Blade to come around. I want Blade to come around. I just want to see a vampire murder the shit out of like 4 guys really explicitly. And that's it. I want it to be like one dude. I want one guy. He's kind of a bastard, but he's doing it for the right reason. You know, just give me a good vampire movie in the Marvel universe. That's your challenge, Marvel. Fucking do it. Please.
God damn it, there was a fucking army fight in fucking Black Panther 2 as well. How did I not notice this?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is literally everywhere. That's what I mean. You take these characters and you can break them down and you can find them in everything. You have group ensemble at the beginning of the movie to set up the inserting incident. You have the middle of the movie where they're sort of doing their own thing and exploring their own characters, and you get these quirky side characters introduced a little bit more. You know, in Black Panther, that was Ironheart.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you get your big army battles with, you know, huge numbers on either side that ends up resolving down to 1 or 2 people fighting 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 or whatever. And that's your movie.
Credit to Doctor Strange. They did their big army battle in the first part of the movie. Good sir.
It's true. But
wow,
yeah, it's just like you just take these like 4 or 5 story beats, shuffle them around a little bit. You know, maybe in, you know, Ragnarok, the big strong guy is the talky one. That's not actually the big fighty one, and then they change it around in, you know, QuantumMania, where the big guy that looks like the fighty one is the fighty one. It's very tiring.
What
I want it to stop.
Doing? How have I not noticed that?
Yeah,
I'm upset with myself.
And yeah, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, there's definitely not going to be any large scale fights in that one.
Jesus, we don't stand a chance. Do you think if they just stopped with the large-scale fights, the CGI departments would get a lot more work done?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the other thing with doing something like Blade or even like Deadpool, right? They're doing a Deadpool movie. You take real people in real places, and you don't have to CG it. Like, I feel like they've forgotten that everything doesn't have to be CG. Sometimes it's easier to shoot on a real location because you just shoot it once and then you're done.
But what if I wanted to change up what the scene looked like later?
We live in the worst timeline where George Lucas determined how the future of cinematography was going to be handled. And these are the repercussions that we have to deal with now.
The Phantom Menace is probably like one of the most egregious things that's happened to filmmaking because of all it's done.
It's
Do you like Phantom Menace at all?
So I'll say I don't dislike any of the individual Star Wars movies, and I can only say that because I've not seen the 9th one.
Do yourself a favor and never watch the 9th one.
That's the plan. It's working so far.
You'll die a happy man, trust me.
You know, I can look even with like all the prequels. I can appreciate what they were trying to do with them, even if it doesn't work. You know, I do think, you know, there is a place in our world for science fiction, political espionage shit. It's just not Star Wars. So I can appreciate what they're trying to do, and how it just didn't work. Um, yeah, yeah, it's whatever.
I'm just upset. I'm upset.
Hmm. That's fair.
You've ruined all those Marvel movies for me, by the way.
uh, yes, yes.
I hope you're happy.
I'm very happy.
I'm not going to look at them ever.
Share in my pain.
I will, gladly. So when is The Last of Us going to have their big army battle?
They kind of get close to it actually at the end of part two.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm
That is
done.
the closest that they get to that. That is the largest scale conflict between people that there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So should we?
Even then, I guess we'll have to wait and see how they do it. You don't actually see the battle happening in The Last of Us. You are sort of there while it's happening, but you're sort of maneuvering around it while it goes on.
Ah, you don't want to deal with that shit. Got it.
No. It's like they have good writers or something. I don't know.
So we should probably talk about The Last of Us. Talk about something good.
Yeah.
Last of Us is good.
It is. I have to accept and admit that it is good TV. Even if I think it should be better, it is still good.
Yeah. Yep. I can see where you're coming from because you are a fan and I am just getting into all this shit.
Yep.
I imagine I'm going to have seizures when they do the One Piece adaptation.
Yeah. That'll be the day.
I don't see
Yeah,
a chance.
it's fine. It's just kind of more of the same.
Yeah. Um, Tommy's cool. I like Tommy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tommy's good. He's a good character.
Yeah.
Uh, good casting.
I felt a little bit like I knew this episode's plot the moment Joel started having a panic attack and asking Tommy to take Ellie to the university.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait for the next episode. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do we have anything else to talk about today?
No.
God.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
The ooze guy, the little red whatever guy, is apparently voiced by David Dastmalchian,
Okay.
who, let me see, let me pull this up real quick. I very notable, like recognizable face. Been in a lot of stuff in supporting characters, like he's in Blade Runner, the Suicide Squad as the polka dot guy. He's going to be in Oppenheimer, in a bunch of shit in supporting characters.
Mm-hmm.
Before we had Quantumania released, people knew that, let me see, what was this actually from? This is a Reddit post that I found when I was looking up his character, because I saw him on the Rotten Tomatoes page and it's like David Dastmalchian as Veb, and I was like, oh, what happens if you look up Veb? What comes up? And the first hit that you get for this actual character is a Reddit post from 2 months ago when it was announced, making this comparison as an example for what Veb might look like.
Okay. Let me get that pulled up. Wow. Okay. That's just a Yokian from the hit family animated film Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Good sir.
Yes, it is.
Which is what the character kind of does look like. You're right.
Basically, it's the idea.
Minus
it's
egg.
an ooze egg thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I found that very amusing. That was like as a deep cut. I hadn't thought about that Jimmy Neutron movie in like a fucking while.
Which was better, Jimmy Neutron movie or the series?
Probably the series. The movie had, from what I remember, it's been a hot minute. But from what I remember of the movie, there were good scenes, but otherwise it was largely pretty mediocre, whereas the TV show was a lot more consistent throughout.
I will drink to that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
It was better
Still good.
writing.
Yeah. falls into the same kind of pits that the SpongeBob movie did at about the same time, where it's like it's fine, but it's clearly they had to write it differently for it to make sense as something that's more than 10 minutes at a time.
Of course. It's good sci-fi, and I think with a movie like that, it was kind of hard to ground the sci-fi.
Yeah.
A show is much faster that you don't have time to question everything.
Also, it's basically just Independence Day.
And there's a big war fight in
Jimmy
the
Neutron.
end.
There's a big war fight in the end. Yeah.
It's a Marvel movie. Oh my god. I'm horrified. Okay. Anything else we have for the show today?
I don't think so. I'm gonna do a quick scan here, but I think that's all.
Elon's defending Dilbert Man, Scott Adams, by the way.
Typical.
Typical Elon.
In sad news, there's a Reddit post that was been making the rounds now of a picture that somebody took at a landfill somewhere that has 6 pallets of Magic the Gathering cards that somebody dumped in a landfill of unopened cards. So like from a distributor somewhere.
So you gonna go grab those?
If it was like within 5 hours, I would be there. Because this is like legitimately like $100,000 worth of sealed product that just got dumped for some reason.
What a fool!
I've been seeing discussion about it, and the gist that like the only thing that makes any sense is that it must be like some distributor declared that it was damaged in transit, and they can't keep it at that point because they said it was damaged, so they had to throw it out. Something like that must have happened. But it is here. I'll send you this picture. It hurts to look at because each of these boxes, each of these cardboard boxes, has like 6 booster boxes in it, and it's just like such a waste. Especially as expensive as this shit already is.
Damn.
It's messed up.
That is really messed up.
Yeah.
Boy, I hope someone got fired for that blunder.
Oh, I doubt it. I'm sure it was. It would have been done on time. On purpose. I don't know.
Oh well. Well, what a depressing note to end on. Thank you, Kyril.
Yep, of course. Anytime.
Well, I'm the infamous Orion, and I've been a Schmo.
I'm Kyril, and I've been a Schmo.
And this has been, oh shit, we're in a Marvel movie now. The war fight's about breaking out. We gotta take cover. Oh shit.
Call the ants.